Greetings, patrons. Jonathan here, just inviting you into just a very ad-lib reflection but specifically for you, just related to just what's transpired, what's been floating in the last 24 hours. I've had more than I can count a number of conversations, and uniquely in the last 24 hours, with several people in my world, friends, people I live with, people in crisis, that have held really, really hard and heavy things, and have involved vulnerability, have involved tears, have involved honesty, connected to just all varieties of fear, anger, guilt, shame. And I think about, I've been listening a lot recently to Jason Mraz's song. I think it's called I Won't Give Up. I love it. I love these words, and I think about just a perspective on the human condition, on us, on our brothers and sisters, regardless of how different we are, and not necessarily just a romantic relationship, but just not giving up on us, this big us, and what that means, and what kinds of risks are we willing to take for that. And the reflection simply just revolves around how I fight so hard to be available and present to chaos, to crumbling of walls, to crumbling of emotions, to crumbling of systems, both in our own human body but also in the outside world. And I think the reflection that comes through some of this is just this question that I even still ask myself around, what are we willing to risk? What are we willing to say yes to? What are we willing to say no to? Who are we willing to upset to be present with those in our midst? And that those in our midst is not just those that are in crisis or in like a very specific and tangible container of pain or hardship, but even those that we find to detest, that we objectify, and that we put into categories as other. What are we willing to risk? Why aren't we protecting more time to just be with and embody and hold space alongside those in our life who are facing pain, those that cross our path that face pain, and those in our midst who are different than we are? This is such a crisis to me. This is a crisis of human condition, where we have isolated and made ourselves so beyond separate from one another on a daily basis. Or we have, in quiet, whispering ways, have told ourselves that we're somehow superior or better or have more tools or have more knowledge or have more this, that, and the other. And while some of that is accurate when it comes to knowledge and exposure and experience, so I feel it's accurate to acknowledge one's access to or exposure with various learnings, wisdom, experiences, but to at any point believe or start thinking that you are better because of that you are higher on the ladder because of it, is dangerous. So I am grateful and am filled with holy affirmation in these last 24 hours and in so much of my life for saying no to emails and tasks and agendas and transactions and money and other people's perspective or needs that are to say no to those things very confidently and even calmly for what shows up in my life that's bleeding, hurting, and dying. And I think that could even be nature-based. That could be both what's going on the inside, each of us. That could be something very tangible with someone in our life where there's crisis or hardship or pain. Or it's the walls and the divides and the bridges we've casted and created between people we used to love or that we love and we don't understand, or that make us so angry that we objectify them in ways that are causing a lot of harm. So, a little bit of a ramble, but I am grateful to this Patreon community, this space, for just blessing my experimenting and creative process in this. I have used all of these resources in the last 2 weeks very specifically for someone who's in crisis and becoming closer to my kind of everyday space right now and is in a lot of need. And so these resources have gone directly to him and probably will continue to until we've got some things in place. So I'm grateful for your trust. I'm grateful for your support. I'm also getting further along with the writing. So there's some good stuff coming there. It's slow because of life, but it's happening. So just continue to be alongside. And I hope this reflection around how we say yes or say no to be present to these things sparks something, holds something, cares for something, and I hope you feel more than invited to be reaching out if I can be of support. Peace, 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 friends. Thanks.